for a lot of lawyers, a lot of people coming in, especially when they're younger, they're terrified of that conversation. My wife is phenomenal speaker, but she's from Mexico. Her first language is Spanish. And so when she has to put it into English, she pauses and she's just afraid to do it. And she asks me all the time, how are you able to speak in public? Well, here's the truth that nobody who's a public speaker really tells you is I practice.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
So, what uh, message do you have for your fellow lawyers, entrepreneurs out there that are still they're owning a law firm business, but they only get in the clients by referral, and so what's your message to them?
So I've heard this as well. I think it may be California that has talked about, hey, we're going to let other people step in. A lot of the states are still very, no, not going to happen. And the reason for that is the reason non-lawyers can't own an actual law firm is because they don't want influence over the legal aspects of it. And so when we meet with people, it's very, look, I'm here to solve your legal issue. There's no outside influence that comes in and says, hey, look, we're a public company, or hey, we've got investors, or hey, I own half of this company. You only meet with the client for 20 minutes, do the work and move forward. And so it's ultimately an ethics question. And you're seeing a lot of things coming up now, especially in the financial services industry, where people who aren't lawyers are bringing in these type of setups with these forms. So they're not technically giving legal advice. They're advising their client, hey, you need an estate plan. Come in and do this. It's creating a lot of problems. That's why probate has become such a lucrative business because, oh, you made your will online and you didn't put all this stuff into it. Well, not you because you probably would have passed, but your mother made this will online. And so what we're seeing with the industry is there's a lot of people trying to get into it. And so my background is wealth management. I was with JP Morgan. I was an equities trader back in before the recession in '07, '08. And so I understood the market. I understood how things worked. And then I got into advising. And the issue with advising was as I got older, I kept learning new things. I knew tax. I knew a lot about tax. I knew a lot about estate planning, but I wasn't a lawyer. And so when a client would ask the problem, like, hey, what's going to happen here? The company would come back and say, no, you can't answer that. You're not a lawyer. And so at that point, it was here, hold my Topo Chico. I'm going to law school so I can bring all this in to one shop. And so now I've got Meridian Legal Advisors. We do tax, financial plan, all of it in one. And it's one person managing everything. But I still look at these advisors who aren't attorneys giving legal advice. And a lot of times the advice is wrong. When I talked about, step number 2, get good at what you're doing, understand it. That's not just to sell, it's to protect yourself. Because if you do something wrong, we live in a very litigious society. Somebody will sue you. Even if you do it right, somebody will probably still sue you. So you better have a better explanation of, oh, well, my business partner who's not an attorney wants it done this way. Yeah, license gone. Or, I didn't know, Your Honor, my bad. Yeah, gone. And so the industry's constantly changing. I think it's up to the consumer to make the ultimate decision. Does the consumer want to be with the traditional aspects, or do they want to go, hey, here's somebody who doesn't have a law degree dictating what's going to happen? Do I want to take that risk? Where's it going? We'll probably all be replaced by AI in a year and a half, Harry. So I don't know.
So tell us how you overcome that fear, and what message do you have for your fellow lawyers and entrepreneurs out there regarding this?
Definitely. I think so. My background, I would talk to people all the time. I was sales. I would sell investments, and even before I got into financial advising, I was part of the old school brokerage aspect. So we'd get on the phone, we'd call people, cold call them, try to talk to them, try to get them interested to sell them stocks and things like that. When the recession happened, trading kind of went away. So it became financial advising. But I had spent all this time on a trading desk with guys who, for a living, made a lot of money talking to people. And I remember watching one of them on the phone one day, and I was just mesmerized by it. This guy knew how to talk. And so then I just started paying attention to how he talked all the time and tried to get better at how I did. Don't show emotion. Don't try not to curse. Be professional but be interesting at the same time. And so I've always tried to make that happen. So going to law school later in life because I wanted to fill these gaps where I was sitting as a financial advisor saying, hey, I want to be able to do tax. I want to be able to do the estate planning. I want to write contracts. I want to bring it all together. I had an advantage because I understood a lot of what other people didn't. So I didn't have a problem with speaking because I knew the material. It's very hard to speak to somebody when you don't know what you're talking about. And if you want to look like a deer in headlights, talk about a topic you've never heard and see how long you can go with it. And then the client starts asking questions and you're thinking to yourself, "Oh, this is bad." Like I got to change this direction. When it comes to law and things like that, once you know how to talk, then it becomes a processing. And so I've got a CEO who's fantastic. We work together at another company. We came together to build Meridian out. And she puts it to me all the time. You no longer really get to do the work. Now, I've already told you, I love doing the work. I like sitting in the back, drafting it out. But here's the reality of the company. I am the biggest asset of the company. My job is not to sit there and spend 8 hours doing a plan, it's to go get the next customer. And in order to do that, I have to get over all those fears, all those vulnerabilities of somebody leaving a rotten comment that says, oh, you're an idiot, or this is the worst advice I've ever heard, or nobody uses LLCs anymore. And I just have to get past it. And then I have to go record another video. And I have to record another video. Now, here's the beautiful thing about when you first start off, no one's watching your videos. You're not there yet. So you get over that fear rather quickly. And then you start saying, well, nobody's leaving like a bad
Point.
comment. Yeah, exactly. A bad comment would be better than no comment at all. Give me something. But that's the truth with it. If you want to scale and you want to bring in more, you have to do what brings in more. And sitting there drafting the documents and doing the legal aspects of it, that doesn't bring in more. That services what you have, but you can bring in a team that is just as good as you on it, maybe even better. Let them service that. And your role or my role turns to two things. It's bringing the next client, and the client that comes in, make sure they're happy. Keep that client happy, call them all the time, handle the customer service aspects because that's another referral source. They're going to say, look, Matt at Meridian calls me weekly. We talk, fantastic. Let me recommend him. And so it's not changing. You still do all the roles of the company, but what part is going to bring in the next client? That becomes your main thing. Now, I would love to have somebody else do that, but then I got to take my face off the company and I got to take my name off the company because it becomes their company. And as an entrepreneur, I don't know if I want to do that, Harry. I enjoy the building of it.
I'm glad because the and that's why you're doing amazing, and I think that uh, we need more lawyers like you, right?
Thank you.
In front of the because at the end of the day, we the whole point is to make that business grow, and I think that you see, it's also aligned with your values. Okay, if you have nothing to hide, you go on camera, you go public, right? I think that, and you do have an advantage because you know your competitors are not doing it. They're hiding something, but they're afraid. Yeah, they had the fear, which is sad, and how I reach for 1 million people and I claim thousands of people off the world. Well, because the fear of public speaking, and it's you think there's something wrong with you. It's nothing wrong with you. It's everybody. And the reason that happened is very simple. When you were a kid, your mom comes and tell you, "Hey, don't talk to strangers." And maybe you want again to talk to a stranger, then maybe your dad told you, "Hey, don't do that. Don't talk to strangers." So, in very early age, you've been taught for the people you love the most, don't talk to strangers. This is bad. It's not good. So it's already embedded in your unconscious mind so deep that you don't even know that. And later on in life, you're in business, and guess what? You have to talk to strangers every day. And how you get comfortable with that, since you're a kid, you have a contradicted was your parents are trying to protect you, and they will never let you to speak with a stranger. That's their job as parents, to tell you, don't do that. This is bad, So,
Exactly.
but we don't know, but it does have an impact. So that's why when every country I go, people they have this thing apparently. I have a fear. It just means people think that it's them only. No, it's everybody. It doesn't matter which country I go. It's everybody because everybody had the same similar incident memories. So some people more anchored than the other one, depending on how hard they've been torn off, how often. So, but go ahead.
When you think about it, especially the business type, and so we do a lot of things, and the whole goal I had when I was just advising people with wealth was I'd have to send them off to a CPA, I'd have to send them off to an attorney. And what would happen over and over again was the CPA would say something, the attorney would say something different. The client's paying all this money, comes back to me, is mad because nobody's talking together. And I'm sitting here saying, no, this can't be right. So I had this idea. This should all be done with alignment. People need to be together. But here's the thing, nobody was doing that. And so the ordeal was I made
Wow.
a great idea, but no one knows about this idea. So now I have no choice but to get in front of people and say, hey, this is the new way of doing it. One stop. You come in, we handle your estate planning, your business, your tax, your asset protection, your financial planning. You only have to talk to one person. Not only that, the attorney is sitting with the CPA going through it together. And so now there's no misalignment. And the more complex your business is, the more needs it serves, the more you have to get out and yell at the top of your lungs saying, hey, I've got this amazing idea. It's going to save you time. It's going to save you money. All you got to do is call me and I'll tell you about it. But like you said, a lot of people don't want to get that message out. A lot of people haven't spent the time to create that message. And that's the beautiful thing about branding is in this industry, everybody talks about what's your elevator speech? What's your elevator speech? You got 45 seconds to impress me. I hate an elevator speech. I have way too much to say. Normally when people say, what do you do? I just say, I'm an attorney. What do you need help with? And that's it. It's like, what do you need? And then I can go in
2
further.
seconds.
Yeah, exactly. And then I stop for the other 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of lawyers, a lot of people coming in, especially when they're younger, they're terrified of that conversation. My wife is a phenomenal speaker, but she's from Mexico. Her first language is Spanish. And so when she has to put it into English, she pauses and she's just afraid to do it. And she asks me all the time, how are you able to speak in public? Well, here's the truth that nobody who's a public speaker really tells you is I practice. I take
100%.
notes.
I'd say to everybody, I always tell public speaking is practice. It's skill based. When you practice, the better you become.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.